Bill O'Reilly here. Welcome to the No Spin News, Tuesday, December 2nd, 2025. Stand up for your country. Well, I'm off to Washington, D.C. this evening, going to the White House soiree honoring Christmas tomorrow. Always a privilege. I know that word is overused, so is honor, but it is. And I've been going to these things for a long time, although Joe Biden iced me. I never got an invitation, but I was there for Bush the Younger, for Barack Obama, and now for President Trump. And all this is to reward Trump's fundraisers, but I'm not one of them. I don't give money to anybody because I'm a journalist. But he was kind enough to give me an invitation, so I'm going on over there. I'll have a full report for you on Thursday. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if cabinet members are going to be there, if congressional people. I have no idea. Tomorrow we will broadcast from Washington, D.C. We have studios there now. I don't know if I told you guys that, but we are rapidly expanding, as you know. And so we have a nice facility down in D.C. The talking points memo. What will happen next year? I know. Now, I'm not Karnak the Magnificent. Now, if you don't know who that is, that's a Johnny Carson reference. But I'm not a soothsayer Nostradamus. I am a guy who knows what's happening. And 2026 is the last chance to get Donald Trump. The far left, the Trump haters, the Democratic Party, their media allies. Last chance to get him. And it's going to come down this way. Every week there will be a new controversy. We've seen a preview of it this fall. Epstein, and now the gunboats, blowing up the drug boats. And next week it'll be something else. I don't know whether they'll take a Christmas break or not. But then every week in 2026, a new controversy to try to wear down President Trump in the court of public opinion. That's what will happen. Now, I don't know if the Trump administration knows this. I suspect they do, but I don't know for sure. But they need to put together a rapid response team to anticipate that this is going to be an ongoing campaign. Because if the Republicans lose the House or the Senate or both, then Donald Trump becomes a lame duck president. He loses an enormous amount of power in the last 2 years. If the Republicans hold, Trump actually increases his power. And believe me, that is not going to be good news for the progressive left and the Trump enemies and the media. There's a lot on the line here. Now, we got a preview yesterday with White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt. I know Ms. Leavitt. She's a young woman, but she is very, very bright. And I was impressed with my meeting with her, which took place 2 or 3 weeks ago. I didn't know her before then, face to face. Anyway, you'll remember that the New York Times ran a piece that said Trump is getting old. That's impacting on his job. Piece is bogus, and I told you why. I deal with the White House all the time at the highest level. I know that Trump's younger staff members have a hard time keeping up with him. That's a fact. The story was bogus. So yesterday, Ms. Leavitt took it on. Roll the tape.
And I will point out one fake news story over the weekend before I let you all go from the New York Times that took about 1/3 of the president's daily calendar and his daily schedule and said that he's doing less than he did in his first term or he might not be fit for the job. That is unequivocally false, and it's deeply unfortunate that this story was written by the same outlet and the same reporter who wrote this. Biden is doing 100% fine after tripping while boarding Air Force One. Oh, same outlet, same reporter who wrote that President Trump is not fit for the job. Are you kidding me?
And it's true. So there was no reporting on President Biden's decline. And to the very end, the liberal media was saying, oh no, don't believe your eyes. He's fine. And of course, he wasn't fine. Now, that's the kind of very effective, methodical response that the Trump administration has to get up and running on every issue if they want to win the midterms. And that is what is at stake. And that's the memo. All right, some good news for America and the Trump administration. Michael and Susan Dell. Okay, they're the high-tech people, and they are worth billions of dollars. I got it somewhere. I'll find it for you. But they're unbelievably wealthy. They are pledging $6 billion to help American kids set up accounts. 25 million American children will receive these accounts. And this is a very generous thing. So here's how it works. All American kids, all of them, born between 2025-28, okay, that's Trump's second term, will get $1,000. And they'll be put in like an IRA type thing. And then their parents can contribute $5,000 if they want to every year. The kids in the poorer zip codes will get an additional $250. Okay? So this establishes, education fund, whatever the people want to use for. You cannot access it till you're 18 years old. So the urchins are going to have to wait. But by that time, it's going to be invested in very conservative stocks, and it should grow. It's low-cost, diversified funds that track the USA stock index, which is a very good investment. Very good. For you people who are just looking for an investment, that's a conservative investment that always grows. All right. So the Dells, I'm very impressed. I'm sorry. I think this is an excellent way to share your money that you have gained from capitalism in the United States to help the kids. So I'm pleased to report this. On another money front, Northwestern University has settled with the federal government, the Trump administration, for $75 million. The university is charged with not protecting Jewish students during the pro-Palestinian riots. You'll remember all of that. Okay, 75 million, that's a big number. Money goes to the U.S. Treasury. So far, $356 million from colleges has been settled and gone to the U.S. Treasury. Okay? College involved: Northwestern, University of Pennsylvania, Columbia, Brown, Cornell, University of Virginia. Harvard still negotiating. I do expect that Harvard will settle. Now, once these are settled, then the federal government will do business with the universities. And there's a lot of block grant money going into those schools for medical research and other research. So that's what this is all about. I do believe that in many liberal universities did not protect Jewish students. I believe that. And we can't have that. We don't talk enough about those truly making a positive impact. So let's take a moment to discuss Delta Rescue, the world's largest no-kill care-for-life animal sanctuary. Home to more than 1,500 rescued animals, it is staffed by trained specialists who provide lifelong care, love, and safety. They do incredible work. But look, it's important to remember that Delta Rescue relies solely on contributions from us. I have donated, and so should you. Their founder, Leo Grillo, built a legacy of dedication and everlasting love for animals. So consider making it a part of your legacy too. Talk with an estate planner. Check out the estate planning tab at deltarescue.org. You can make a difference, even get potential tax benefits. So please visit deltarescue.org today to learn more. deltarescue.org. Let's go to our neighbor to the north, Quebec. Beautiful place. Have you been? Oh, Quebec City, I love it. I stay at the Chateau Frontenac, right on the St. Lawrence River. Great. And then mountains, and I really enjoy going up there. But they're crazy. The government of Quebec, which is totally different from the government of, say, Calgary or Edmonton or, one of the Western provinces, they're trying to ban all religious symbols. Now, you couldn't do that in the United States because freedom of expression says if I want to wear a cross, or my pal wants to wear a Star of David, or my other pal wants to wear a Muslim symbol, we can wear them. Gay, that's our Constitution. And nobody can do anything about it. In Canada, in Quebec, they have a law, Bill 9, hasn't been passed yet or signed into law, but it passed. No, an act respecting the reinforcement of the, basically, away from religion, secularism, we would call it down here. So here are the two things that are big in the law. You can't prohibit certain public sector workers, in the public sector now, from wearing anything with religious symbols, including crosses. It also expands prohibiting faculty employed in colleges, university, daycare, private schools from wearing religious imagery, including religious private schools. So that means if you go to Catholic school and you have a priest, the priest can't wear a cross. Come on. All right, joining us now from Toronto is Max Valiquette. He is the former director of communications for Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. We are very pleased to have him this evening on the No Spin News. So I'm a simple man, Mr. Valiquette, and my question is, why bother with this? What good does this do?
So the answer is, unfortunately, politics. The governing party in Quebec, think of Quebec and the governing party is called the CAQ, which means Coalition de l'Avenir du Québec. So essentially, they're a pro-Quebec party. And think of them almost like think of Quebec as sort of like a state. And so the premier of Quebec would essentially be the equivalent of a governor, essentially. And they're doing pretty poorly in the polls right now. And this is a really strong issue for distraction from how poorly the governing party is doing. There's an election coming up soon. It's a great way for them to take a wedge issue and hope that people are distracted by identity politics enough to not focus on some of the other problems.
Okay, but why would the folks in Quebec want this kind of damage to freedom of expression? Why would they want that?
I mean, it was so interesting off the top for you to hear that Quebec is a lovely place, but also kind of weird. I've lived there. I would agree. It is a lovely place, but also kind of weird.
All right, good. I'm glad we're simpatico on that.
And I mean, I love it. But it's really interesting. More people in Quebec identify as being Catholic than do in any other province in Canada. And in fact, you have a bigger group of people identifying with one religion, period. There are more people who identify with one religion, that being Catholicism in Quebec, than any other province in Canada. At the same time, you have the lowest rate of regular attendance of religious services of any province. So there's this big struggle between a cultural history of Catholicism and how important secularism is in Quebec right now. It's that weird conflict that exists there.
Is there a conflict, though? Look, I understand, and we have it in the United States too, the recession of people who go to church. And the Catholic Church is, 25% of Catholics down here go to Mass every Sunday. And so we understand that. But say I'm an atheist and say I don't like any religion and I'm walking around Quebec. Why do I care if some priest has a cross or some Muslim wears a hijab or whatever? What do I care? I don't.
So where Quebec is unique in Canada, and I think you've hit on something really interesting, is it does well with a bit of an us against the rest of the world mentality. Their provincial motto translates to we remember. It used to actually translate to masters where we are. Like there's a very big thing about the history of Quebec, about how Quebec feels often attacked from the rest of Canada. And I think one of the things we're seeing happening right now is Canada has been a little more united under a tariff and trade war threat than ever in the past. You've actually seen support for Quebec separatism and Quebec solidarity decline amongst Quebecers. So I think this is a great way for a government that's in trouble to say, no, 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 we're all together in this issue, right? This is something Quebecers can all agree on. Don't pay attention to anything else that is happening right now.
But they don't
Focus
agree
on
on it.
Quebec
They
under
can't
attack.
agree on it. Look, when I was up there, I went to Saint Anne de Pauvre, I think I'm saying it right, which is the Catholic church that is a healing church. And it's a very big tourist attraction there. And I can't imagine that most people who live in Quebec want this chilling, and it is chilling, law that would ban people from expression. Now, your Supreme Court in Canada, and it is called the Supreme Court up there as well, has to rule on this. Going to make a prediction?
Well, it's going to be a huge challenge because there is something here called the notwithstanding clause that allows provinces to essentially govern themselves if they it's a huge thing to invoke, but they can do it, which could conceivably override a Supreme Court challenge. So this is a big enough issue, Bill, that you may actually find not just this particular issue being decided by the Supreme Court, but it being strong enough to poke at some of the very elements in our foundation here, which is the notwithstanding clause itself. Can they use this to get around this? I would just like to add one thing to what you said, though, which is the Catholic stuff, a lot of it is being allowed because it's considered cultural. So by that, what I mean is that there have already been issues of, say, a crucifix or a cross hanging in the provincial seat of government in Quebec, and that was okay to be there until there was a real strong challenge against it because it's, quote unquote, a cultural thing and not a religious thing. So when your history of religion involves Catholicism, but that's so wrapped up in your culture, Quebec is a very Catholic place. I think the reason some Quebecers may be okay with this is because they know it's not going to be enforced to have an impact on
Yeah, but
Catholics
it's still an
anywhere near as
infringement.
much.
Still an infringement on their rights if they really think about it. And here's the irony. We got Christmas in 3 weeks, and one of the nicest places to go to see Christmas decorations is Quebec City. It's beautiful.
Mean, think about the ridiculousness of enforcing this. Is the tree
You
a
can't
symbol?
enforce
Is a
it.
tree with an angel a
Right.
symbol?
Is
A tree with a star a
nativity
symbol?
scene? Yeah, you can't enforce it. All right, Max, we appreciate the update. You'll be our go-to Canada guy from now on because we do want to have a good relationship with Canada and we want to understand what's going on up there. Thank you very much. A quick story. I'm up there in Quebec City and I'm driving up into a place called the Hotel Richelieu right along the St. Lawrence River. And I'm going about 120 miles an hour. There's nobody on the road. Okay, it's way up there. And all of a sudden, a Mountie pulls out behind me. And so I go, oh man, I'm hosed here because there's no excuse. So I pull over, he pulls over behind me, gets out, he's in his Mountie uniform. Little guy, about 5'6". He walks up, I roll down the window. He looks at me and goes, Le facteur. And he let me go. It's a true story. Let's face it, the U.S. economy is under stress. National debt rising, trade war shaking the markets. And meanwhile, China is dumping the dollar and stockpiling gold. That's why I protected my savings with physical gold and silver through the only dealer I trust, American Hartford Gold. And you can do this. Get precious metals delivered to your door or place in a tax-advantaged gold IRA. They'll even help you roll over your existing IRA or 401k, tax and penalty free. With billions in precious metals delivered, thousands of 5-star reviews, and an A+ from the Better Business Bureau, you can trust American Hartford Gold as I do. Please call 866-501-5201 or text BILL to 65532. Again, that's 866-501-5201. Or text BILL to 65532. The cost of everything still rising, And many of us are relying on credit cards to cover essentials. If that debt is piling up, you're not alone. Americans now owe more than $1 trillion in credit card debt. You may have thought about calling American Financing, but hesitated because you don't want to lose your low mortgage rate. Well, good news, they created the Smart Equity Loan. It lets you tap into your home's equity without touching your current mortgage. Unlike a home equity line of credit, this loan has a fixed interest rate and one predictable monthly payment. No upfront or hidden fees. It only takes 10 minutes to get started, so please call 888-462-9557 or visit americanfinancing.net/bill. Okay, final thought. Black Friday. A record $12 billion spent by American consumers as they embrace AI technology. Now, this is according to Adobe Analytics. I don't know anything about AI consumerism. I don't know. I got regular stuff. Get real stuff. I don't have any AI stuff for you. But $12 billion in one day, that's a lot of jack. Okay, so American consumers still buying. Now, we have a phenomenon going on in a BillO'Reilly.com Christmas store. We're going to sell out of everything. Now, I'm giving it to you now on December 2nd because come middle of the month, we're not going to have it. We're not going to be able to reorder fast enough to get it to you. So this is an alert. Our top seller this year so far are the Christmas ornaments USA 250. This is the anniversary. And right close to that is Christmas ornaments not woke. These ornaments are going to sell out. Okay? Secondly, and this is a shocker to me, is the mega bundle of my books, 15. 13 killing, 2 confronting. You get a free hat if you buy them. And this will save you hundreds of dollars because you buy the bundle and then you give away a bunch of the books, keep some for yourself, whatever you want to do. Do you know how much money that saves you? Because people want these books. These are great gifts. So instead of wasting $100 and a quarter, $150 on, something that doesn't matter, if you do the math on the bundle, it's a lot less than that. So that's our third seller, and that's flying out of here. Fourth is a not woke doormat, which I love, and I designed this, and it's sitting right outside my door. So if anybody goes, they know, well, they know me anyway, but, if a stranger appears, he's not woke. And then we have confronting evil and confronting the presidents together. I did this because how can I promote confronting evil, put it under your tree? I can't really do that. So we got both of them there. So anyway, look, you buy from us, I can give my staff bigger Christmas bonuses, which I do. And you help us out across the board, and you save a bloody fortune. BillO'Reilly.com Christmas store. Thank you for watching the No Spin News. See you from Washington, D.C. tomorrow. Thank you for watching. To view full episodes of the No Spin News anytime, sign up to become a BillO'Reilly.com premium or concierge member today.